just like last week, we decided that today we would sit down in front of our fireplace, drink a nice hot cup of tea, and take some time to relax.
Actually, we have to admit that today the plans have changed a little bit. We were going to talk to you about pandas. We're going to go to the zoo, look at some pandas. Unfortunately, Shanghai Zoo is closed, along with almost every other site in Shanghai as well. This is due to the outbreak of the coronavirus.
But that's okay. So instead, we decided that we would sit down and we would talk a bit about how you get to China.
We put together a 7-step guide of how to go to China to study. And if you're here for something very specific, visa requirements, accommodation, we put the timestamps down below so you'll be able to jump forward so you only see what you're interested in. Let's get started. What we did before we went to China was that we figured out where did we want to go.
So that's the first step. That's the first thing you need to figure out. Where in China do you want to go? So let's talk about maybe some of the major cities that a lot of people travel to. So the first one is Shanghai, which is where we are at right now, which is a huge city. They have an amazing skyline, tall buildings, and in Shanghai you'll be able to find some people who actually speak English. You can also take a look at a city like Beijing, which is a bit more cultural. They have a lot of historic things to go see, the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, Tiananmen Square. You can also start looking for something that's just a bit smaller.
Even cities that you haven't even heard of. A city like Suzhou, which we went to recently.
After we found out where in China we wanted to go, we started looking into, okay, what do we want to do in China? That's the second step of the 7-step guide. You need to figure out what you want to study in China.
Yes. It can be that you just want to study some university courses, but it can also be that you want to study language. That could be Mandarin. You could also just go here to study Chinese culture, and there's a lot to study here, and a lot of people do that as well. At this point, we knew that we wanted to study Chinese, and we somewhat knew where we wanted to go, but we needed to figure out how to study. We knew that we wanted to really study intensively. The way to do that is to go with a private language school.
So that's the third step of the guide. You need to figure out how do you want to study. And there are mainly two different options. You can either go with a language school that is specialized in doing intensive courses, such as LTL, where we are studying right now.
Good option.
A great option. Or you can go with a university, which offers semester classes, but they are university courses, which means that you'll be studying together with 50, 60, 100 other people.
We're only 4 people in our class. We always have one-to-one interaction with our teacher, and rarely we go more than a minute without speaking directly with our teacher, which is great for learning.
You ready for your next step? How to get to China? You wanna do it?
Ah man, I'm so hungry.
Hungry?
We need to get some food.
Yeah, we only had breakfast today. Okay, then we'll shoot the other steps when we get back.
Yeah, deal.
Let's go. All the stores were shut down.
Even the ones that are always open.
Because of New Year's, not the virus.
So we managed to get the only available food here on Chinese 1st of January. Everything's closed, but I got some KFC, you got some noodles.
We're not gonna starve.
Back to the vlog.
So we knew that we wanted to do an intensive course with a language school. We had to figure out how do we get to China, because that can be a complicated process.
When we're talking about how you get to China, we're talking about 2 things. Obviously, plane tickets or other modes of transportation is quite important, but pretty easily fixable.
Yeah.
And then visa. Visa can be a complicated process when you're going to China. Don't let that scare you away. It can be a little bit frustrating before you get here, but when it's done, and it's pretty easy to deal with. Our planning was a little bit rushed. That meant that our visa process was a little bit delayed, and that meant that we only got our visa 20 hours before our flight, which is quite risky. When you're looking at getting visas for studying, you're looking at 2 types of visas. Either you're gonna get an X1 visa or an X2 visa. We're in an X2 visa right now, and X2 means that you're going to be studying in China for less than 180 days, half a year. The X1 visa is technically just a short 30-day visa, but it allows you to, when you enter China, go to the Public Bureau of Safety and get temporary residence permit.
So I think we have 3 key messages in terms of getting to China. The first one is book your flight tickets That's fairly easy done.
Yes.
But make sure you get flexible tickets.
Get flexible tickets.
Yeah, a month prior to your flight departure, start getting your visa. And the third key message is I would highly recommend using a visa agency.
The reason for this is that the visa agencies understand the rules. These visa agencies, they do Chinese visas all day, every day. And that means that they understand exactly what you need.
So you got your visa and you're going to China.
That's amazing.
It's awesome. The next thing you need to figure out, where are we going to stay in China and how are we going to stay in China?
Pretty important. No matter whether you're a tourist for 5 days or if you're going to be a student for 6 months, you're going to have to register yourself. Registration is something a lot of people don't think about because when you check into a hotel, they do it for you at check-in. But if you stay at something like a private apartment, Airbnb, something, some other kind of accommodation, you'll have to register yourself with the local police station. And if you're going to stay a place for less than a month, then we'd actually recommend going to a hotel because you don't have to deal with all this stuff and the hotel does it for you, and staying at hotels are pretty nice. So what are the other options?
Well, you can choose to stay with an Airbnb and get your registration done. There are a lot of different Airbnbs out here and they don't cost too much. So it's definitely manageable to get an Airbnb.
It would be the owner of the Airbnb that has the responsibility to do your registration for you and with you. Yes.
If you are studying with a language school, such as LTL, we're actually going to have the chance in Shanghai to live in what is called a homestay. This means that for a month we'll be living with a Chinese family.
You've got your visa, you figured out where you're going to stay, you figured out where you're going to study. It's all great. The day has come, you're traveling to China. And here actually you don't have to worry about anything. It's just like taking a normal flight. You'll go to the immigration, you'll fill out a small paper, and then you'll go through. They'll just check your visa. There'll be no questioning, no interviews. You'll just fly right through, and now you're in China.
Now you just have to figure out how you're going to enjoy your time here in China.
Yes, and there are a lot of ways to enjoy your time. It's not hard. China's a great country and has great people. Of course, you need to go check out the big amazing tourist locations like Changchun, Great Wall, all the gardens, big towers, temples, and so on. China has a lot of those things to offer. But on a day-to-day basis, you don't want to run around on East Nanjing Road and looking at all the same stores again with all the other tourists. We definitely recommend just going into local restaurants. When you see something on the street that you're wondering, what is this, or what is that food, or what is this place? Go in there and try to explore some of the more local places. Because 1, it'll be a lot cheaper, 2, it'll probably be a lot better, and 3, it's really nice to actually feel like you belong here in the local areas.
Now we know that we didn't really get to go out and explore some amazing cultural site here in Shanghai today because of the virus. Everything has been shut down.
When that is said, we obviously couldn't cram all the information into this video, but our great partner LTL Mandarin School, they've actually made a bunch of articles, blogs, and YouTube videos about all these things. So if you want to check out some more on this, look right down below. We'll have the link to all of it. I guess that's it for today. Storytime Sunday is over.
It is. See you next week.
See you.